Aha, I'm worth it. All right, feel your vibes. Here we go. We're on day 4. Bring it back like you love some. Bring it back like she wants some. Oh yeah. Because you're worth it. Because you're always worth it. Give me you. Just give me you. That's all I want to do. Ooh. All right. Here we go. So we are on day 4 of the 5-day challenge for dating conversations. How's it going for you? Got any tips from the last 3 videos? And we have one more to come tomorrow. Exciting stuff. So this is a video series all about how to do all things dating conversations, but also how to live a more erotic life. And eroticism as defined by Esther Perel. Thank you, Esther. We love you. If you don't know who she is, go and check her out, Esther Perel. Is to live a life full of playfulness, curiosity, and imagination. Just lovely. And when you live a more erotic life, erotic not being sexual, but being playful, curious, and imaginative, it's less of a leap to come towards a dating conversation because you're already in that bit of yourself that tends to come alive more when you're fancying somebody, when you're flirting, right? So what if you lived a more flirtatious life, flirtatious not being just sexual, but just being generally playful, imaginative, and curious? What would your life be like if you lived in that way? Interesting question, right? So what we've been looking at so far, let me do a little recap. So we've looked at the confidence to start up conversation with somebody you fancy. And that might be in the DMs, on the message platform, for your dating app or wherever you're doing that. Or maybe you just send someone in the street, on a train, in a bar. I know we're not doing loads of those things right now, but they'll come back. They were there before and they'll come back again. So those in-person interactions, picking up on the IE vibes of, I think there might be something there. Go and initiate a conversation. We've also looked at the secret of living a juicy mating, dating life. And we have looked at the magic of using stories to uncover whether you click or not. Is there vibes there? Is there resonance? Have we got something to play with? Today, we're looking at the knack of leaving a date when you know it's a no thank you. I imagine you've had one of those in your life. I know I have. You find yourself on a date, it went well in the DMs, and now you're like, oh, cool, let's meet. Let's meet for a coffee. Let's meet for dinner. Let's meet in the park, whatever. And then you're like, no, this is a no from me. What do you do? It's super awkward. So that's what we're going to be exploring and unpacking today. Some tools for that, some prompts that you can use around that, and get yourself out of that tricky situation you don't want to be in anymore. Let somebody down with kindness. All of those things. Sound good? Alrighty. So, give me 1 second. So the first thing for us to do is to bust a myth. We've busted a myth. We bust a myth. We busted a myth. Not sure. We've busted a myth every day so far. So if you want to go back over the last few videos, go and have a look, and you'll get a myth buster on the top of each one, and then the rest of the tips and what flows afterwards, of course, through the rest of the video. But today's myth buster. So that you have to stick it out till the end of the date just because you said you would go on a date. Feel that relief basking over you as I tell you that's a complete myth. It's a complete myth that you have to stay till the end of a date that you don't want to be on anymore just because you said you'd go on a date and there was an agreement about what that date was. Total myth. Weird, right? So the fact is, it's actually kind and ultimately respectful to let somebody know that you're not interested at one of the natural breakpoints in the evening, date, afternoon, whatever. It's actually more kind and more respectful than to lead them on all the way till the end. Especially if you've gone on like a whole day date, or like a whole afternoon date, that's several hours of somebody's time. Time's precious, honey. Time's precious. Wouldn't you want to get your time back if you were to know that they're not interested in that way? Wouldn't that be great? Or if it's just like not vibes for you. If you're enjoying their company anyway, you can signal that. And I'll talk about that more in a minute. And it's like, can we go into the friend zone? Because we get on, I like you, but not in that way. Is there something, that resonates for them? Because you can still have a nice time. You've just shifted the focus of the event or the date, right? Okay. So let's talk about some pitfalls here. This is for y'all people pleasers. If you're a people pleaser, this is literally for you. This tip is hand-picked, hand-plucked from the tree of life for you. You're afraid of hurting their feelings, that they will get upset. Now, if you're not interested, imagine how much more upsetting it is to find that out later down the line when you've invested so much more interest and effort into connecting, only to find out that it was never there for them. Why didn't you tell me earlier? That is the more upsetting thing. It's possible that they might be hurt by you letting them know at the earlier point. Rejection can be painful. But it's worse, the greater of two evils, to let somebody know much later. All right, people pleaser, let that sink in. The other pitfall here, as an avoidance strategy, is to stick it out to the end and be pretending that, yeah, this is going really well, cool, I'm having a lovely time, when secretly inside you're kind of going, it's not here for me. And then instead of actually saying anything at all, you avoid it altogether, which is called ghosting. If you don't know what ghosting is, Google it. But basically it means you disappear act on them. And it's really not cool. It is totally not cool as a strategy for not having to address the fact that the vibes weren't there for you. It's cruel. It's selfish. It's just poor communication. I really don't recommend it as an option. You lose immense amounts of just general credibility, and the world is smaller than we think. So this stink will come back on you later. Don't do it. All right. So that's the ultimate avoidance strategy. And then the other one is the assumption that it will go badly. Okay. The assumption that it will go badly if you tell them that the vibe isn't there for you, that you're not interested in that way. Let's face it, you're two consenting adults who have gone out on an interaction to suss each other out. You're sussing each other out. Both of you are going, maybe, how about that? This is what you're doing the whole time while you're chatting, interacting, taking in how they look, noticing their stories, their shares, their overall vibe, feeling the connection. The whole time you're sussing each other out. So it seems reasonable that at some point there might be this moment where you indicate your interest level or your type of relationship you are wanting to go into with this person. All right. So the assumption that it would go badly when you let them know that you're not interested is not necessary. it is possible that it might go badly. It is possible, I'm not going to lie. But is it likely? Probably not. Is it a definite? No way. No way. So run your behavior through the assumption that you both want to know how it's going. All right? And that's a useful thing to know. Okay. So let's move on to some things you can do here in a little bit more context. Okay? As I said, you're ultimately two consenting adults who have met up to suss each other out. That is basically what a date is. I know it doesn't sound that sexy, but it is, and it can be. But you're sussing each other out, right? So check this. You are not responsible for the other person's feelings. I'm going to say that again for the people pleasers at the back. You're not responsible for other people's feelings. Okay? I know. But you're not. All right? You are responsible. This is where you need to check in. You are responsible for the signals that you give off. Okay? And the signals can be to do with your body language, your use of language, spoken language, and also your naming of your feelings and your relationship that you have with this person. You are responsible for those things. All right? So take off their feelings and put it down. In fact, don't just put it down. Give it back to them. Right? Give it back to them. That's their responsibility. You are responsible for how you behave and how you express your interest and give off signals to them so that they can navigate this reality that they're sharing with you. All right. So be clear about how you feel. If you're not sure, be clear about that you're not sure. You'd like to go on a second date, please. Right? Because you're not sure yet, but maybe there's something there. It's not a no, it's a maybe. So you need more time, more information on which to make a decision. All right? Empower yourself and the other person to make choices based on reality. So if you can't control the other person, but you can, by showing up, being willing to share what you think, feel about this interaction and about them, then you, then you invite them to do the same by modeling the way of being that you want, right? That it's useful for both of you to have the information on which to make choices based on reality, not guessing, second guessing, and projecting what you think is happening. Literally share the information so you can both make choices based on reality. It is the most empowering thing to do in a dating situation. Any situation. Any communication situation in your life. Base it on reality. Wild. All right. Now I take a sip of water. Before I share a story. So the story I want to share with you is actually, it's not my story today. I've shared a lot of my own stories of dating experiences, both good and bad. So, go and catch up on that soap opera. And this story today is actually about a past client who, in many ways, inspired this whole series of tips and videos around dating conversations. They are recently divorced. They were recently divorced and heading back out into the dating circuit, dating field, the dating world. But they were heading back out in their in their 40s, having got married very young, when like dating apps didn't even exist, and really not knowing how to navigate this new world in their 40s, having been married for 20 years. And it was a very new place for them, and they felt very uncertain as to how to navigate it. And so dating was a set of rules that they didn't understand, if you like. And the people pleaser in them wanted to make sure that nobody got upset, nobody's feelings were ever hurt. And that is a really honourable thing to consider, until the point at which it blocks you from actually navigating the interactions to the point of bringing them into reality for both you and the other person to be empowered to make decisions. So she had some people who were really super keen on her. And however, she felt no chemistry. So now she's got that dreaded situation where someone's super keen and you're like, not keen. What do you do? And that's really what we looked into. She was so terrified of hurting this person's feelings that she was leaving them in the no man's land, which is the pre-ghosting land, by the way. When you're not really communicating anything, you're just kind of like backing off, right? You might not think of yourself as a ghoster, but if you are not replying to their message for quite a long time because you're not sure what to say, because you're not actually interested, that is a form of ghosting. And she realised after working together that it was more cruel to leave them in this no man's land, this pre-ghosting territory, than to break the news to them now and set them free, because they were super keen. They wanted to go to the next stage, whatever that was. And she did not. She knew it was clear for her that she did not want to do that. And so after our work together, she then gently let them down, and it was absolutely fine. And she kind of then continued to do this inventory into her, all of the people who were yeses, nos, maybes, she was inundated. No, but she had a few kind of coming in to the dating place that she was navigating the engagement with, and she then went and gave clear signals to each of those people as to what stage she was at with how she was feeling about the interaction and how it was going. And then both parties were empowered to make choices based on reality. And it was respectful, and it was kind, and it was honest. And it had a lot of integrity. All right. So, how to do it? Am I right? How to do it? Here is actually, the first thing is to know when. When do you let somebody know? So if you're still on the date, there are some natural breaks in an interaction in an evening or throughout your time together where you could make use of a natural break to actually break it off. Okay? Natural breaks look like after the first drink, after the main meal, before dessert, before coffee, before you head to the next place, destination. These are natural break points where it doesn't feel horrendous to stop the interaction going any further, because there's a point at which it would be easy to go different ways. Okay? Whereas halfway through a meal, pretty awkward. On the journey to the next place, pretty awkward. You are upping the awkwardness dramatically here. So you want to use these natural break points. And the natural break points are a clear and caring opportunity, once more, clear and caring opportunity to indicate how you feel. And here's how you can do it. So if you're signaling that you're signaling your desire to bring the date to a close in a kind and clear way, because that's the point, try this. As much as I have appreciated meeting you, I personally feel... And find a way to share what it is that you feel. Own and name how you feel, because you're giving them the information they need to make a choice based on reality. All right? Signaling that it is definitely a no. So the first one, you might be interested in navigating them into the friend zone, for example. It's not a I never want to see you again. It's a I feel that we'd be better off as friends, or I really enjoy your company, but for me that extra vibe isn't there, or that particular chemistry isn't there. But if it's signaling a no, ideally I wouldn't see you again ever without going, I never want to see you again. Try this. So I'm a big fan of honesty. It's only fair to tell you that the chemistry isn't here for me, and I'd rather just leave it here. Thank you so much for hanging out. It's been nice to meet you, but yeah, I'd like to leave it here now. There's going to be a bit of awkwardness. Can't really eliminate it all. Sometimes you can. If they're like, oh cool, that's great, thank you very much, no worries, because they're responsible for their feelings, of course, remember, and they deal with it well. But there's likely going to be a bit of awkwardness, and that's literally to do with the fact that the expectations are adjusting. The expectations are adjusting. And the feeling of expectations adjusting is a shifting sensation. It's uncertainty, and uncertainty can feel a bit awkward. That's all it is. It's just the shifting sands readjusting to the new reality. Let that happen. See how they respond, and you can probably just carry on from there with whatever needs to happen next, which is co-created by the pair of you. It's not something you have to decide ahead. See how it wants to happen, okay? But you've been clear, you've drawn your line in the sand, you've named how you feel, you've been honest, kind and respectful, so now they are empowered to make a choice based on reality. All right? So those are the useful prompts for you to play with in terms of letting people know that you are not interested. So if I was to sum this up, the main thing is, sexy is knowing that you are both interested. I'm going to say that again because it's super important. Sexy is knowing that you are both interested. Based on reality, you know it's a yes from you both. Then you have sexy. Respectful is being honest and kind with that person so they can make choices based on reality. Respectful is being honest and kind with that person so that they can make choices based on reality. All right? So sexy and respectful, off you go. Really. All right. So I hope that's really useful for you, and I'd love to hear how that lands with you and what takeaways you have. Do drop them in the comments for me on the video, on the replay, and let me know any questions, any follow-up questions you have, or any brilliant examples you have. Share them with me either in the comments or via DM is also fine. We've got some more coming up. We've got one more day left. Oh my gosh. So the last day is all about, this is the goodie, taking your date into more exciting and intimate places, whatever that is for you. Everyone's next step is different. Everyone's intimacy rolls out differently. So it's how to do that for you and this other person, whatever that is. So it's how to roll on into the next place, if you like. That's tomorrow at 12 o'clock. And if you're catching the replay, check out the next video. heads up, this is the second in the series of 5-day communication challenges. So if you haven't already, go and check out the Small Talk Challenge, which is all things conversations. So it's looking at how to start a conversation with somebody new, take it into interesting places that you've never been before, that are inspiring, philosophical, expansive, looking at how to get out of conversations at networking events, at family gatherings, all of that sort of stuff. So it's really all things conversations in everyday life. Go and check out that series. It's called Small Talk. And next month we're preparing for navigating conflict, icky, tricky conversations where there's a disconnect and the vibe's not good and you got to sort it out. So that's what we're looking at in September. So mark your calendars for that in the second week of September. And otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. All right, go well. And I really hope you have some awesome dates around the corner and continue to bring in those erotic life qualities of playfulness, improvisation, and imagination. In the meantime, I'm going to roll out with my song of the season, which is Worth It. Baby, you're worth it. You were always worth it, and you always will be worth it. So sing with me, dance with me, whatever it is. Here we go. Give it to me, I'm worth it. I'm worth it. I'm worth it. See you later. Bye.